Hi, this is Ryan McReynolds, individual on the autism spectrum, and well, sometime this month, when riding in my dad's Tahoe, I was either getting picked up from work or on the way to go shopping at somewhere like Myers or something. I don't know where we were going exactly, but or maybe it might have been when I was getting picked up from church. It was somewhere, anyways. Well, anyways, my mom had commented about that apparently she'd seen a post where somebody'd gotten a tattoo because this person's nephew happened to be on the autism spectrum, and it either said, "I love my autistic nephew," or "I love my nephew with autism," and somebody else decided to chew out the individual for the way the tattoo was done and all that, and then my mom would, I guess, come back at the person doing the chewing out that said, "Well, my son's been autistic for this or that many years," and then she was like, "Wait a minute, I might want to ask my son how he prefers it, and if he prefers to be called autistic or someone who has autism, or how I prefer it." And I said, "Well, I've kind of really made no total distinction on this, or it's like, I've not made a big deal on exactly the exact referencing per se on if I'm, referenced as an autistic person or someone who has autism, yada yada yada, because I'm like, I don't really make a big deal out of that, it's kind of like how, there's some black people that prefer to be called black and some that prefer to be called African American, and some who are like, I don't care, or whatever, and although there are some who will say, "I wasn't even born in Africa, so I'm not an African American," which, it's and I can see that distinction right there, kind of like, yeah, my ancestry is primarily European, but I don't see whites like myself getting classified in racial classification as European American, because I wasn't born in Europe, although I'm planning to take a trip over there in a few months anyways, but, But still, I know that, yeah, there are some people who actually have their preferences on that, oh, the person has autism, or no, the person's autistic, or, whatever, but for me, it's like, it's not one of those things where, I don't make a big deal on that instance, although I certainly hate it when people will automatically assume that, oh, if you're autistic, it means there's something wrong with you, and I also hate it when people will say there's nothing wrong with you, as if, oh, being autistic is supposed to mean that there's something wrong with you, and I'm like, yeah, I think if anybody has anything wrong with them, it's people out there who are totally ignorant, or don't have a clue, or don't even want to get a clue, or things like that, And also, I remember before when I talked about that I have read my own medical files on the original diagnosis, which said mild infantile autism and early infantile autism, and there was an individual who turned out to later be bossy that said that she didn't like the term infantile. I guess this girl happened to be on the spectrum herself. She was from Ohio, and I guess her mom happened to actually be her legal guardian or something, and all that, which makes me wonder what kind of functioning level there was with this girl per se, but for some reason she didn't like the word infantile, and I was like, well, I mean, and from some research since, I can see why some people on the spectrum don't like the word infantile, because, well, in actuality, yeah, infantile definitely does not really fit me after all, I mean, granted the term mild autism, oh yeah, that would definitely fit me or something, but it's like, but I think you basically do strike out the word infantile or something, but of course, another pet peeve I do have is when people out there will say that autistic means retarded, and I'm like, okay, granted there are some individuals on the spectrum who really do also get labeled MR, which is usually a more polite term for mental retardation, although there's been other labelings put out too, like TMI, which stands for trainable mentally impaired, and SMI, which stands for severely mentally impaired, and SXI, which stands for severely multiply impaired. And the ones with them that are labeled as TMI are labeled such because they're at least trainable and all that, and it's kind of like, and yeah, I've had to deal with idiots that have said that, oh, since you're autistic, you're mentally retarded, and there's actually points out there today where I've been like, you gotta behave better than what the notions are on us and all that. Like, back when I was engaged to a girl who was on the spectrum herself and all that, would claim she hated it and stuff, and she was a control freak and all that. Well, anyways, when she would demand I not go anywhere, I said to her, if autistic people like us don't go places, all the idiots that call us the R word, they're going to be proved right about us. And I've dedicated myself to proving the idiots wrong, but how can I do that if, I start proving them right? And all it takes to prove lies to be truth is just one person, and there actually are some people who really are diagnosed as MR that actually even behave way better than my ex-fiancé did. My Uncle Doyle, who was unfortunately murdered in 1987, yeah, he was diagnosed with MR, and when I look at the different definitions that have been used to describe people with MR, I think TMI, which stands for trainable mentally impaired, would probably have been the best fit for him. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm welcome to being proved wrong, but he definitely was a whole lot smarter than my ex-fiancée, a whole lot better behaved than her, and, and all that. And so, there you go. And I say, that these people out there, they'll say that, oh, if you're autistic, you're the R word. Yeah, there are some people who are labeled as MR that really do behave even way better than when it's being used to negatively describe a person on the spectrum. And of course there's some people out there who will say to an autistic person, are you retarded or something? And then they'll be like, oh, I didn't mean retarded, I just meant retarded. Okay, but still, I'm like, there are times when people need to think before they say something, because, but yeah, it's like when I look at the definitions what actually describes someone who really does have MR. I can guarantee you that MR does not fit me. But that doesn't even end there. Okay? Well, another thing I have to say too, is like, yeah, as I said before, I hate it when people will say, oh, there's nothing wrong with you. And I remember I got into it one day with someone who, well, this person had actually been nice to me beforehand, but one day this person was saying there's nothing wrong with you, as if, oh, autistic is supposed to mean that there's something wrong with the person and all that. And this person, pretended to be some sort of expert by expressing, oh, I was a special education teacher for this many years, and I had to think to myself, well, why is this person not teaching special education anymore? And I also explained that I was diagnosed in 2 different states. Okay? First time was in Texas at the Methodist Medical Center in Houston, back when I was living down there, and that's where the paperwork said mild infantile autism and early infantile autism. And second time was with Dr. Andrew Maltz, right here in Michigan, and he's one of Michigan's best at diagnosing autism. But no, this person who was making all these comments was like dismissing all that and saying that I was misdiagnosed, yada yada yada. And I had to think to myself, okay, where was this person in my life when I had all these battles in the school system, and when my parents battled with the school system? I mean, where were these people in my life, that'll say, oh, you're misdiagnosed? And where was this person in my life? Nowhere. That's where. So, yeah, in the end, I put a block on this person and all that, because I was like, oh, just before the person said, there's nothing wrong with you, yada yada yada, this person had expressed wanting to listen to the Autism album that I'd started working on a few months ago, which, well, it isn't complete yet, but I have at least most of the songs for it done, and I'm probably going to complete it soon anyways and all that. But I was like, no, this person's not going to even be allowed to have a copy, because I'm like, no, there's no way I want this person to have a copy. Yeah, I know I'm saying a lot, but I hope I've said enough of what I need to say. Anyways, take care and God bless. Thanks for watching, and God bless.